Hello, 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 Illumineers, and welcome to the Nerdstrom household. My name is Nerdstrom. Let's do another deck profile, and this is one of the decks that is quickly growing in popularity, not just in the Nerdstrom household, but all over the meta. We've got right here number two seed, Emerald Amethyst, or as Lord Conneville likes to call it, EA Tempo, just win the game. But in this case, it's actually EA Levers. Wrong lever! I know. So yeah, this is yet another new deck profile that I'd always been wanting to create. It's been something I've been always excited of constructing, but unfortunately, in doing so, I've never really had the resources to not just make this deck, but also create other decks that I also want to do. And so it kind of hung by the wayside. Set 7, I did have a very steel heavy meta within the Nerdstrom household. And I felt that there was time to kind of construct something. And with Amethyst Steel and Emerald Steel, while I appreciated having those decks, and I was very fond of the Jafar deck, especially in Amethyst Steel, I felt it was time to make a change. And pull the lever, wrong lever combo was a thing that was a catalyst that allowed me to get excited about the Emerald Amethyst build. And with it, it's brought pretty decent amount of success. It started off in the number, I think it was in the number 5 or 6 seed in the Nurture household, and it's quickly risen up the ranks to now the number 2 seed. And just so you get an idea, the 3 to 6 seeds are going to be facing off against each other in the first round. Best of 3, and whoever wins, they proceed. And what they're going to do is they're going to have to face the number 1 and number 2 seeds as well. So the number 1 seed and the number 2 seed are going to get a bye. We're going to get to the number 1 seed in a second. You should know it pretty well. The number 2 seed quickly rose the ranks from 6 to 2. And now it has a chance to have a first round bye. It's actually in a very advantageous situation. And the deck has been really good over the last several weeks here in the Nerdstrom household. It's never been so good that I felt the confidence of bringing this deck to a big championship. I did participate in Geek Fest a few weeks ago over in Everett, and it was a very bad experience. But I did it. I got in there because I thought Steel Song, because of how powerful it had been in the meta, I felt that would give me the best chance to win, and it didn't, because unfortunately I was in a very steel, in not a steel heavy meta. It was actually very concentrated on Amethyst. And then I decided, okay, let me see if I can let me do another set championship, and I'll bring Emerald Amethyst. And at the very last second, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and pick a deck that I really enjoy. And that's why I ended up going with the 1 seed Blue Steel deck for that set championship. Didn't result in great results, but I did really enjoy myself in playing it at the same time. But with this deck, I've always been wanting to see if it's competitive, and certainly in the household, it's definitely proved it. You've seen it on stream; it's been doing really well. It seems to have pretty big trouble with Blue Steel. I just can't quite get that 1 seed, but who knows? Maybe a good performance in the Nerdstrom House Championship might change things for the better. But yeah, this is the Emerald Amethyst Levers deck. It does have discard is a pretty strong part of its identity, but I just kind of like to call it EA Levers, because most of the discard decks don't really use pull lever, wrong lever, like to a high extent like this deck does. And so that's the reason why I always want to use it as the reference point to kind of name it. So yeah, let's go ahead and start off with the 1 seeds. We've got all Diablos to start things off. So we've got Diablo Maleficent Spy. When you play this character, you may look at each other's opponent's hand. This is always good, because if you want to decide whether or not you want to use your Ursula next turn, you can always just put that down. You got Diablo. When his character is banished, you may draw a card. That's the Obedient Raven. Just again, a presence to kind of get some cards out, and just to have Diablo pop off as much times as it possibly can. I have debated on putting the other Amethyst Diablo out there because I think there's like another version of it as well. It's kind of like a vanilla one. Um, but I just want effects to happen. I just don't want to keep too many vanilla cards in the deck. Um, then in the 2-drop section, you've got Diablo's Spiteful Raven, which is a 1/2 Challenger 2. It's got evasive as well. Again, you can use this as an anti aggro attempt on turn 3, and so it's always useful in that situation. And then another 2-drop, you've got Ursula. When you play this character, chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a song card of your choice. So obviously, if Maleficent's Spy shows that the guy doesn't have anything, then you probably would want to put Ursula in the Inkwell and try something else. But the other option that you can also do is Sudden Chill. And you just get, by turn 2, you should be able to kind of get your discard engine working as soon as possible. The idea is you want to empty out your opponent's hand by turn 4 if you decide to go with the discard narrative. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to do that. So yeah, with Sudden Chill, you can just instantly do that just in case, the song doesn't work out. You ideally want to, because if you do have Diablo, or if you have Ursula out there, you can still, on turn 3, you can use that as a means to sing a song like Sudden Chill to get it discarded. And then when that does happen, you can use other combos that you'll see later on. All right, let's move on to the 3-drops. We've got Madam and Fox, classic character. If things don't really go that well, you can't get your 3-drop Diablo out on board. You can't get that shift going. You can always use Madam and Fox to just bring those other cards back to hand, and you can use Diablo against the Spy. You can use Diablo to banish, send it back. Now all of a sudden you have a 4-body that can go ahead and start wrecking stuff down the line. So yeah, Madam and Fox, it's been around forever. Most people know about that one. Same with Merlin Crab. When you play this character, and when he uses play, chosen character gets Challenger +3. So if you can't do it with Fox, you can always do it with Crab. I think if you're going to be in a Challenger situation, you ideally would want to have Merlin Crab be out on the field instead of anything else. One combo I do like to have is when I have, let's say turn 1, I put one of the 1-drop Diablos. In turn 2, I can't get the 3-drop Diablo, but I can get like the 2-drop Diablo, because that one's got Challenger, and you put Merlin Crab on there. You could take that 1/2 challenge with Challenger. That'll boost it by 2 to make it 3/2, and then put another 3 on there. All of a sudden, now it's a 6 strength Challenger. It's not necessarily necessary in the upper thing, because like in the early game, because like there's not a whole lot of opposition that requires that sort of thing that early in the game. But if that Diablo is evasive, and it can challenge Maui. You can take Maui out. So you never know when you need these sort of things. So yeah. Speaking of 3-drop Diablo, behold, 3-drop Diablo, Devoted Herald. A lot of people are really clamoring for Diablo's head. I can understand why, because it's a very good card. During each opponent's turn, whenever they draw a card while this character is deserted, you may draw a card. Whole New World, fine. Give me 14 cards instead of 7. So this has been a thorn in everybody's side, and it's always been a target of things like Brawl, things like Let the Storm Rage On. And I totally understand that. And having that early draw game is really important, because this thing, like if you compare it to like say my number 3 seed Ruby Amethyst deck, I don't feel like it draws as strongly as the Ruby Amethyst deck, because that thing is built to draw on the first 4 turns, and then turn 5, then it starts just popping off. This one, like, it's still dependent on certain other effects to take hold in order for you to draw a card, like, Diablo, or even the 3-drop Prince John. Whenever you opponent discards 1 or more cards, you may draw a card for each card discarded. So like this is as a means of like as you're whittling down your opponent, you're just drawing cards for yourself. And it's a narrative that's been doing really well in the meta for a very long time, and there's a reason why Emerald is still an incredibly strong presence in today's game. It's a very late game kind of thing. It takes a little while for the thing to pop up, but when it does, it's actually a really solid go. I think this is the fact that this is a number 2 seed in the Nerdstrom House Championship is a very strong example of why it is like that because of the performance. But right here are the stars of the show. We've got pull the lever and wrong lever. Now, we've got 4 pull the levers, and the main reason why I do that is because this deck does also have friends on the other side, which is right over here. Friends on the Other Side is a song that allows you to draw 2 cards. It's a song which is nice because when you exert it, you can just go ahead and play that, and it'll just go ahead and let you draw 2 cards. But if you're ever in a situation where you're trying to choose actions and you have a choice between a pull the lever and a friends on the other side, what I tend to do, at least in terms of my playability, and I think I can just tell these secrets because up until set 9, I'm not going to be participating in set championships, nor do I know if I'm going to be playing with this one anyway. But generally, what I like to do is I like to sacrifice the pull lever and discard that one when a Diablo's in play, so I can ship the Diablo. And the reason why is because you can still do something with it, with pull lever being in the discard by using wrong lever, because you can take wrong lever, put that card in, put that pull lever in the bottom of the deck, and then it forces them to put that put a character in hand to the character on the field to the bottom of the deck. There's a pesky Maui half shark just chilling over there. All right, bye. You know, is there a pesky rhino? Bye. Just get rid of it. And usually, whenever I build a hand in this one, generally, I do have God hands in every form of deck that I have. I usually like to start off with one of the Diablos, doesn't matter which one. Then the second one, I like to have either a Diablo or an Ursula. Ideally, I'd like to have Ursula on there because then I can get a song off, and if I can't, Sudden Chill, right? I'd be like, and then what I would do is I would have, but yeah, the cards I would want to have in hand, all 7 of them would be Diablo of any kind, Ursula, Sudden Chill, Pull the Lever, 3-drop Diablo, Prince John, and Chip. I think that covers them all. Because then on turn 1, you can have a Diablo. Then turn 2, if they have a song, you can go ahead and do that. And if not, you can always just use Sudden Chill, and then like sacrifice the Prince John play. But if you don't, if you have Ursula and there's a song on board, take off the song. You can discard pull lever to put Diablo out, and then you can go ahead and quest or something like that, and like get it exerted. That way you can get that draw off the turn. Then turn 3, you would put Prince John out. Have one of your characters, either Ursula or Diablo, sing Sudden Chill, and now you get that now you've discarded another card in the opponent's hand, while also having getting another card, and then finally you hit Chip on turn 4, and by that point the deck should have already had no cards. Definitely inspired by Speci. Speci has his deck build that's pretty similar to that sort of thing, and I do really like it. And speaking of Chip, I'm just going to go ahead and put that one out there. But yeah, when you play this character, each opponent chooses to discard a card. So like that right there is ideally the God hand that you want to have. Is it going to net you the game right off the bat? No, but what it does mean is that it ensures that the discard engine works as efficiently as possible to immediately get your opponent's hand just going. And they're just going to have to be stuck in top deck for the rest of the game. Meanwhile, you have an engine that just keeps netting you more and more cards. And as long as things that involve discarding just keep showing up, you're going to keep discarding cards. You're going to keep discarding cards. That's just how it is. By that point, you should have had enough characters on board that you can start questing and start winning the game that way. I also do have 3 genies. It's got evasive, and when you play this character, you can draw a card. Another card draw kind of situation. Here, I've got 4 Elsas in the 5-drop slot. It's got Rush, it's got Evasive, and when you play this character, exert chosen opposing character. It would not be uncommon that I would if for some reason I was very challenge heavy, I would have a crab on board that had already given 3 to another character. And then on turn 5, I would play Elsa, exert something that I want exerted. And then I would run crab into something, banish that, and then give the challenger strength to this one. So now it's all of a sudden it's a 5/5, and they can start taking out a whole bunch of big deep threats. So yeah, good solid move. If I can't do that, next turn, Cricky. When I play this character, all the other characters get +3 strength this turn, and also does quest for 3. Sometimes this can win games, just by having this on the board. And as long as nobody touches it, it can actually the game in a certain situation. And then to finalize things, I've got 3. We don't talk about Bruno's. Return a chosen character to their player's hand, then that player discards a card at random. Another piece of the discard engine that if Prishon is there, you can start drawing more cards in that sort of way. And then just to finalize things, I do have a little ace up my sleeve, especially in a very steel-heavy meta. I've got Ursula, Sea Witch Queen. We've got a small Ursula. This can shift on turn 5. And whenever this character quests, banish, exert a chosen character, and other characters can't exert to sing songs. And it does also quest for 3. Keep this on board. They can't exert. They can't exert to sing any songs. They're just going to have to use their own ink to do songs and things like that. So that can be very helpful in the long run. So yeah, that is the number 2 seed Emerald Amethyst Levers deck. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And just so you know, the Nerdstrom House Championship is going to be taking place this Sunday. I am very adept at calendar building. What is it? August 10th. That's when going to be. That's one of the first rounds of the Nerdstrom House Championship are going to be. Stay tuned. If you don't want to miss anything that involves the Nerdstrom House Championship or anything that happens on this channel, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. But until next time, my name is Nerdstrom, reminding you that just because I play against myself doesn't mean that you have to. Go out, make new friends, and let's get nerdy.